Scouts
Oh, hey!
suck.
Oh,
And because scouts
You
suck, I will be going over some of the ways that you, as a sniper, can properly deal with these little twitchy gremlins. God, I hate scouts. Scouts thrive in close quarters engagements, and as a sniper, you don't, making dealing with scouts a very big hassle and most likely your most blatant counter. Scouts are always at an advantage while fighting a sniper. Their scattergun does massive damage in close range, and their mobility makes them a very difficult target to hit, especially in a 1v1. As a sniper, you simply don't have the mobility, health, or means of damage to be able to effectively deal with scouts. And because of this, you must rely on the rest of your team to protect you. Some people seem to have it in their minds for some reason that Sniper should be well behind his team, picking off anybody that he can. But in my experience, this tends to just get you backstabbed and meat shot by a flanking scout. What I tend to do is to move up with my team, being slightly behind the main group as you don't want to be spammed out by rockets or grenades, but also close enough to be able to run into the group for protection from scouts or spies. It's a fine line you have to mess around with depending on the situation, but being supported by the rest of your team is a massive help when dealing with scouts. This kind of playstyle is more akin to the typical huntsman sniper, more aggressive but not so much that you get killed easily due to slow fire rate and movement speed. It may be tempting to go for a melee kill when a scout is on you, and unless you have nowhere else to run, this will usually just get you killed as a scout will just jump over you and meat shot you without even having to cover his distance. Scouts tend to be overconfident when fighting a sniper, and for good reason too, but this can also be a weakness. Scouts, especially less experienced ones, tend to follow a very simple pattern of movement, and if you can pick up on this pattern, use a corner as a way of forcing an opening and attempt to go for a quick headshot. But keep in mind how risky that this is. However, more experienced players might jump around a lot more when fighting a sniper, and in this situation it is not best to go for a headshot, but to continue making as much distance as possible while retreating for the safety of your team. When a sniper scopes in, his movement speed is reduced by 73%, and his field of view is also being heavily lessened. So, when you scope in, that leaves you incredibly vulnerable to a scout and a scattergun. It is rarely the best course of action to go for a headshot, but a headshot will instantly end the interaction, so if you are confident in your ability to get a headshot, go for it. The overall most effective way of dealing with scouts is to properly position yourself as to not be an easy target. Positioning is complicated and only really comes from experience, so forgive me if I don't have very much to say on the matter. The more you play sniper against more experienced players, the better you will find yourself positioned in different situations. It is extremely difficult to explain what makes a good position good, mostly because things like positioning rely on personal playstyle and depend on specific situations. But to emphasize my point even further, the best way to deal with a scout is to not put yourself in a situation where you need to fight a scout. Just as how a medic never wants to put himself in a situation of fighting a soldier because of lack of damage, movement, and health, so do you not want to engage in a fight that you are significantly less likely to win, such as one with a scout. Scouts know which classes are valuable, and right behind medics are snipers. Snipers can single-handedly control a complete choke point, and this kind of power is extremely important, and if a scout can pick you off at the cost of himself, in many cases, it is worth it, and you have to be conscious of this and stay aware of your situation and position. A little saying that I try to keep in mind while I play sniper is stay alert, stay alive. If you are aware of what is around you, potential means of escape or potential threats, the more effective you will be. I see so many snipers hardscoping constantly and being run down by the same scout.
That is crazy.
If you don't want to be made mincemeat by the scattergun's hot lead, then I suggest looking around you and being conscious of all potential threats. But if you are being targeted by a scout, and your team isn't able to or simply just won't protect you, I would suggest starting to run the SMG. The SMG might not do a ton of damage, but the consistent damage might be enough to either discourage the scout from engaging or just enough to finish him off while you were retreating to safety. To basically sum up what was said in this video, scouts are incredibly hard to consistently kill as a sniper, with his mobility and damage output being far better than yours in close range. The best way to win against a scout is to actively be mindful of your positioning and stay near your team enough to get support when needed. Hey, if you learned anything or just found this a good way to spend some time, give this video a like and subscribe if you want to see some more TF2 content in the future.